Other story of terror and survival, Asiana Flight 214 and the crash landing in San Francisco. Tonight, the 4 pilots who were in the cockpit flying the plane have talked to investigators, and ABC's anchor David Muir is in San Francisco with the latest word at this moment. Once again, David.
Diane, good evening to you. And we have just learned tonight from the NTSB, after interviewing those pilots, that not only was that pilot in training trying to land a 777 here in San Francisco for the first time, the pilot who was training him was serving as an instructor for the first time. And we've also learned tonight something else, that when that plane crash landed and the tail came off the back, 2 flight attendants were sucked out of the plane, ejected right onto the runway. They survived it. All of this tonight as we get a clearer view from the cockpit of what it's like to land one of those massive jets over San Francisco Bay.
Tonight, as that pilot in training is questioned by the NTSB, a rare view from inside the cockpit of what it's like to land over the bay at San Francisco's airport, seen in a video posted to YouTube by a KLM Airlines pilot. You can see through the cockpit window the descent over the bay, the angle for a safe landing on a clear blue day, much like the one we saw over the weekend, when pilots are cleared for a visual approach. But so many questions tonight about Asiana Airlines Flight 214. Inside the cockpit, the pilot in training sitting in the left seat, the captain training him on the right. And we know that the pilot being trained, Lee Gang-guk, had logged just 43 hours on the 777. He'd flown into San Francisco before, but this was his first time landing a 777 here. The pilot next to him did have experience, Lee Jung-min. He had 3,220 hours flying a 777, 33 landings in San Francisco.
They're running out.
Investigators want to know, what did that pilot with more experience advise the trainee to do?
This was his first trip as an instructor pilot. This was the first time that he and the flying pilot that he was instructing had flown together.
Late today, the CEO of Asiana Airlines arriving in San Francisco, overwhelmed by the cameras, turning back, leaving the airport through a side entrance. And tonight, more survivors from that crash landing going home. So many of their injuries mirroring one another. Ved pulsing and his collarbone.
My collarbone is fractured, so kind of this is support.
Fei Zhang wearing that neck brace, motioning side to side what she felt on the plane. Dr. David Spain told us he saw so many of the same injuries.
And we saw a lot of what we call compression fractures, where the spinal column gets compressed.
Doctors telling us those injuries consistent with catastrophic movement side to side, the armrests jamming into the passenger sides, breaking ribs. And many passenger spines stretched and then compressed as they were whipped forward and backward, held down only by their lap belts. Late this afternoon, we heard from members of a martial arts team on that flight back to San Francisco.
The captain was saying, "Oh no, we gotta get out of here," and then boom, the back end just lifted up, just really jolted everybody in their seats.
That boom, that jolt, causing so many similar injuries. And we've also learned tonight from the NTSB that before that fuselage, that charred out wreckage came to a halt just beyond the runway there behind me, that it had done a 360-degree spin. In fact, the debris field reaching some 2,000 feet down the runway. And the NTSB chairwoman telling me earlier today that part of that tail that ripped off the jet was actually found in the bay before the runway even starts. Diane?
Incredible details still unfolding. Thank you, David Muir, once again for bringing us the latest.